All the funkers in Philly liked Christmas, it's true. But the god who lived just north of Philly did too? Sonic.EXE, to the town's disbelief, decorated the tree and hung up a nice wreath.
What the hell, man?
Yelled Pico.
This is so OOC. You've gotten so weak, you're not hardcore like me.
Ha! Pathetic.
Jeered Tankman.
You're as soft as my cock when I'm watching soap operas because Steve won't turn them off.
Cheer up, guy. Don't be blue.
Reassured Skid and Pump.
You don't need to be spooky. We'll fill in for your slump.
With that, EXE really felt down in the dumps. He thought, "What a sad sight to see," said a strange man in black. "Come with me. I'll help you get your vile side back."
You can't help me,
sobbed EXE as his eyes bled. Then he took off his cloak. It was old Lemonhead. "Every Christmas I hunt for a nice human meal, and I'd have it if my violent illusions were real. But with your godlike strength, once I help you refresh, you could harvest their souls. Just leave me the flesh." EXE mulled it over. A few bodies was cheap, and he did miss the days when he used to soul reap. So the two made a pact, and with Lemon's illusions, he taught EXE all he could, no exclusions. With his skills reawakened, there was no time to waste. Night had fallen. The two planned their rampage with haste. The plan was quite simple. They'd sneak into each home and snatch up their victims afraid and alone, stuff them inside a sack, bring them back to the mall, then one by one, harvest their souls, kill them all. And just for an extra cruel, ironic kick, they'd do the whole thing dressed up as Saint Nick. There was only one problem. The sack filled to the brim. EXE couldn't teleport that thing with him. They didn't have money, so they borrowed a sleigh from a terrified mall Santa's Christmas display. Then they hooked up their reindeer, and with a sad cry, Soul Tales lifted both of them into the sky. Their first house, it seemed, was no house at all. 'Twas a studio apartment, and this one was small. There were socks thrown all over, some McDonald's French fries, and a gray microphone. Oh great, it was that guy. But where was their victim? This place was a mess. There were so many big lumps, they just had to guess. So with one in their sack, they moved on to the next. From a flat to a mansion zoomed the unwelcome guests. Or so they would be. But as they searched for the bed, they were greeted by a strange machine man instead.
Santa Claus!
Cheered the robot.
I knew you were real! I've been waiting for you!
He exclaimed with great zeal.
You've made me so happy! Far more than you know! Have some milk and or cookies! Huh? Where did they go?
The food had been snatched up through a hole someone carved.
It's not hedgehog stew, but I'll eat it. I'm starved.
The two looked at the robot with puzzled expressions. He had no flesh or soul. Death was out of the question.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Santa and, Mrs. Claus. I don't deserve my gift after such a faux pas.
EXE didn't feel evil. He just felt bad. So he gave the bot 5 rings as he left his pad. You're a mean one, EXE. Your form is a facade. You're as haunting as a specter. You're as mighty as a god, EXE. You're a rotten chili dog committing tax fraud. You're a monster, EXE. You've got plagues inside your breath. Your eyes are full of hyper-realistic blood and gore and death, EXE. I wouldn't get near you if nobody else in the universe was left. You're a vile one, EXE. Your cruelty's in its prime. You have all the care and kindness of chemical plants of slime, EXE. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd drown in the chemical plant zone slime. For the rest of the night, they hopped from house to house. lit no lights, made no sound, quiet as a needle mouse. They woke no one else, even those that they'd taken, beyond giddy at how scared they'd be once awakened. Then their dark deed was done, and they fled to the mall, prepared for their slaughter, the best part of all. But as EXE slashed, his joy quickly declined, and the two felt a chill of dread run down their spines. For instead of a scream, or a shriek, or a wail, they heard a metallic clank. Had they failed? They emptied the sack with a mighty group lift! Not one single soul was abducted. Just gifts. A new stereo for the girlfriend to sit on, a giant armchair for some grandma to knit on, a few PS5s, a flat screen TV, a full life-sized glowing-eyed plush Daddy D.
Oh, what a disaster.
The Lemon Man moaned. We took the wrong giant lumps out of their homes.
I hate that.
Screamed EXE, about to combust as he shredded the worthless junk pile into dust.
I can hear them all now, waking up in their beds. We're alive! Those dumb monsters took our stuff instead!
The two sat broken-hearted with but one single dream.
If only we could hear just one blood-curdling scream.
But they didn't hear one, not one scream to savor. For hundreds of screams flooded in as they wavered. Somehow, despite it all, terror still came. They weren't hurt in the least, but it came all the same.
I just can't believe it. They're actually afraid.
But how could they be with the screw-up we made?
They screamed without bloodshed. They screamed without pain.
They screamed without seeing their parents remain.
They puzzled and puzzled in the wide, empty store. Then the two thought of something they hadn't before. What if terror, they thought, doesn't come from a sore? What if terror perhaps comes from stuff you adore? They didn't need to think long as the screams turned to swearing.
What the fuck? Where's the gold chain I'm supposed to be wearing?
How the hell did I lose my new flat screen TV?
Where's my stereo speakers?
Where's my big life-size me?
The Hedgehog received the best gift he could get, reassurance he still could cause suffering yet. Lemonhead was proud too, but hungry as a horse. So he, EXE, carved Soul Knuckles' corpse.
That's the end of our story, but there's still so much more evil doing your infinite life has in store. So if you're ever worried your malice has died, just remember the time the whole Funkin' town cried. Merry Christmas, son.
Wanna watch more tunes like this?
Subscribe immediately!
Support us on Patreon to help us exist.
We can't do this for free!
Check our Twitter, it's the best.
Our posts are cringe, I swear!
Follow for updates on what's next.
Could be anything, oh yeah!